I'm Kirby Falkenberg. Member of CIC for over 20 years. Served on the board of directors of CIC. And in my career, I spent 38.5 years working for the YMCA in successive positions along the way. For the last 18 years, I was the president and CEO of the YMCA in the greater South Bend area. And I can't tell you what an influence CIC has had in my life and my ability to do my job and what I was adding on. Things I learned about CIC that helped me not only be a better director, but create a real Christian spirit within that. And with me this morning is also Gail Cardwell, who is a very successful person. She'll tell you more about the type of work that she has done. And Steve Strand was supposed to be with us sharing that, but at the last minute we had aunt of somebody, is that a Wisconsin shirt? Yes. All right. Yes. All right. See, I'm paying attention to my audience. And Steve had a death in the family and had to go to a funeral, so we're going to kind of cover it now. Part some information, some ideas to you, and I hope this is a lot of fun for you. You're going to walk away, join the morning. It's a pretty large group, and the dynamics are going to be a little difficult for the third thing we want to, third part of this we want to do, but we'll adapt accordingly. Our program is based on a book called The 12 Seeds of Successful Relationships. And you can obviously go to Amazon and buy this. We're going to give you a small booklet, which is like the Cliff Notes, and so you can have that. We hand it out to you in a little while, and so you'll have that. But in the back of it, it tells you the web page and stuff, and you can buy from them directly. One of my favorite places to buy is called Better World Books. Amen. And it's a great place to buy, and they're out of the South Bend area, but all the profits go to bringing books and things into developing countries in the world. So it's a pretty neat operation. So Better World Books, Amazon, one on here, whatever you want to do. And so as soon as I heard about it, went through the book and read it, really liked it, but it reminded me of we have a guy in South Bend who wrote a program that's 30 days on character development, and he came to our Rotary Club and made a presentation. And it was really neat. He's got the sheet of all the 30 different character values that are important that we can incorporate in our life, but he's really thinking business. And makes the presentation. Well, lo and behold, the president-elect of our club decides to see what this is really like, and he instituted the program in his business. And after about 15 of the 30 weeks, he was so intrigued, he became the new president of Rotary and said, well, this year we're going to do a value a week at our Rotary Club meeting. And what he did is took, if first value was respect, well, he would, guess there was some cameras going on, whenever a couple of us were really paying attention, respecting each other, he'd shoot a picture of that, and he would, on every table we had a picture with the title of it, and he would have somebody, each week he had a different small group of people give up and just a little vignette about what that meant, and that was the end of it. But it really made a difference in his business, and lots of his employees' pictures were up, and a lot of fun different things. So it was kind of an enjoyable thing. And then my wife and I recently completed a Marriage in Christ 5-week program. It's once a week for a couple of hours, and then they give you a book, and then every day there's a 2-page set of some scriptures, some questions, and thoughts to think about. And my wife and I spent about a half hour every day. She didn't want to be in it at all. She doesn't dig the small group discussions and sharings, and a lot of us can or not be. I got a big mouth. I never mind that stuff, but other people don't mind it as much. And but it's not her thing. It never has been. But I wanted it because Aloysius, who many of you have met, they do a lot of saving marriages in Africa. And they, if we have an expression in our country that mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. But in Uganda, they say a disappointed wife is a disappointing life. Isn't that the truth? And how many times in your workplace has a couple having a Donnybrook the night before, the day before, and the next day they come to work, and they aren't very effective for you the next day, but we carry that trash over into our work lives in doing that. And so where repairing marriages is not part of our business, and CSC in Uganda is having healthier, better people getting in the work site, so it makes perfect sense, because that's just a huge need over there. So all I wanted was the books, because I used to do a lot of family communications and parenting things in my YMCA job as a program director. I used to run a youth and family communication skills center. So I'm always looking for good stuff for Aloysius. Well, they said the only way you're getting the books is to go through the class. So we went through the class. And I'll tell you, it was refreshing. There was for us, no great revelations. It wasn't that. Just appreciate my wife more. She appreciated me more. We're always kind, we're a little kinder. We're sensitive, we're a little more sensitive. So just kind of a wake-up call and a reminder of what I'm called to do to be a husband, she's called to do to be a wife. And it's not about the kids and all the rest of it, but just some marvelous vignettes and things that the program put together. So in this 12 seasons of successful relationships, it's in, the thought is really to go into your workplace and institute a program like that. And we're going to give you some thoughts about that. And then, but I would say, and this is very faith-based, and you're going to find a whole bunch of scriptures and different things to support all of these values. But I would say you can also use this in your home. You could have 12 weeks in your home, and each week deal with one of these pieces. You could do it in your church. I mean, maybe the church would adopt that and say, for the next 12 weeks, we're going to do all of our usual kind of stuff depending on, I'm a Catholic, and so it doesn't fit into the Mass as we would do it, but it might be that after the Mass over, before the closing announcements, we got an insert in a bulletin, and we got some other stuff, and someone gets up and talks about it and just asks you to take it out, and you can be creative and figure out how to do it. So it can have multiple purposes. It also, if this was the why, no problem. I mean, we're a faith-based organization. It would all fit in the scriptures. That's great. Other places, it would not fit. And so you just need to learn to adapt it to the work environment that you're working in and how it best works for you. So I'd like to start off by, it's called the 12 Steps of Successful Relationships. And just to get us warmed up a little bit, if you walked into a business or the place that you worked or something, how would you know there were successful relationships going on? What would be the fruit of that you would notice, fellow employees, you walked in a place, if there were good relationships going on, what would be some signs of that, Pam? Joy and laughter, okay, lightness and stuff, okay, good. People were getting along. Can't hear. Oh, smiling, okay. Welcoming, good communications. Okay. Helping one another, okay. If there were unhealthy relationships going on, and sometimes that's not uncommon, we hear some stories about that kind of thing. What are the signs of unhealthy relationships? Yes. Okay. Long faces. Okay. Yep. 5 o'clock, we're out of here, right? And that's a great one. I love that. Yeah. No one. Okay. Yes. Arriving late, don't want to be there. Yes, sir. Stress and anxiety, yes, yes. Poor service. So really going to have an effect towards the workers, the customers, the vendors, all that kind of thing. Good. Thank you. So I would say that if you have good, successful relationships at work, I think that that's a spillover. It can spill over into your home life. Work can be a joy. You might be bringing joy, like we've got a bad situation at home, they bring it to work. A healthy, joyful situation might go the other way. I think the customers are probably going to be better served, as we talked about, and probably enjoy coming into your place. So those are kind of some of the fruits that might come out of that. I had an experience. We were doing a capital campaign for our YMCA, and we approached I&M Electric. That's the big Edison or whatever it is, the big one that provides all the electricity for the whole region and some gas in some parts. And, you know, what's this big regulated organization and, you know, paying the bills to them when we don't have a good relationship necessarily. And, you know, they're just some big something up there. But they agreed to give us $75,000 for the capital campaign, and they agreed to do an energy audit. And that was really good because we were a pretty old building and it could be very valuable to us. And so these guys came in to do the audit. They were the nicest guys, the most fun guys, serious about their job, supporting each other. I was amazed at the way this team worked. And I went over to the office and met with them in their office with some preliminary results. I mean, it's a joy-filled place. I was just amazed because it's not what I was expecting in that kind of an industry. And so no matter where you are or you're doing it, it can happen. So in the worst of places, you can have pockets of the joy and the things we're talking about. But I would think as you have that, and someone said yesterday that I think Steve Becker was telling about this small group of guys, and one guy came in and he demanded to become part of that group. Well, it's contagious, and people want to become part of that. A reminder that the word team, together, everyone accomplishes more. And so having that kind of a spirit. Gail is going to help me. We're going to hand out some books for you. And I think with the size, we're just going to handle some bundles out, and maybe a few of you can grab a bundle and pass them around. So what the author, Norm Anderson, did is he took the word relationship and he took each one of those words, R-E-L-A-T, and made a word out of it. And the first one is respect. And so I'm going to play off on the respect, and then Gail is going to play off on the integrity as an example. And if Steve had been here, we'd be talking about listening. But we've got enough activity to do the whole thing. How do you know, and how does it feel when you are respected? So some thoughts. When you feel respected, not only how do you feel, but how would you know that? Handshake, eye contact, okay. Listen to. Being looked at, okay. Jack? You made to feel valuable. You were heard and know that you were understood what they said, yes. Yes. Follow? Okay. Pat? Okay, ask your opinion. Good things. If you were not respected, what are the kinds of things? Pardon? Ignored? Withdrawn? Yes. Say what? Sarcasm. Okay. Jack? Okay. Good. So you get the idea that we can identify when we're respected and when we're not respected. You have a sense of knowing when that had taken place. In the first thing on respect, the author talks about 3 words that come to light. The first word is regard. And he said regard is for the existence, the ideas, and the opinions of others, thinking of others, being treated with courtesy, were the kind of the words that we had come out with. The second word he talks about is esteem. And esteem is a little bit higher than regard. So regard you can be at this level, but esteem is sort of a held up kind of a thing. We hold them in a higher level. Maybe they stand up, they stand out. And so we know people who have been, that we hold in esteem. So now I want you to just tell me a name. Maybe I know a guy, Don, and this is why I hold Don in esteem. And so you think about somebody you hold in esteem. Let's have 3 or 4 people tell me that name and why you hold them in esteem in just a few sentences. Yes. Why do you hold them in esteem? Okay. Somebody else. Yes. Okay. So you get the idea that we hold them in a little higher plateau, perhaps, than we do everybody else in general. Okay. The third level he talks about is honoring, which is an even higher level of esteem. So how do we honor people? Some suggestions. I'm sorry? We celebrate them. How do we celebrate them? Give me an example. Okay, some lunch or flowers would do that. What else? Invitation? Imitation, okay. And I'm sure I have to tell you I'm deaf in one ear and half deaf in the other, and I wear hearing aids, and so I don't always, so it's not you, it's me. Yes. Example. Okay, good. Yes. Okay, good. Birth dates, okay. Our local hospice every year has a dinner to raise money, but each year they take a person in the community and they take that person and their spouse, and they say, this year we're going to honor so-and-so, and so all their friends and acquaintances and people that have recognized what this person has done, they all come together to make a lot of money. But again, it's setting someone up on a plateau of some sort and doing that. Yesterday when I asked, someone said, oh, we gave a standing ovation. Each of our speakers got a standing ovation when they were done. Well, that's honoring and doing that. So I'm going to share a story with you about respect. When I went to work for the Green Bay YMCA where I started my career, people went to work for that Y and they never left them. And you never got fired. I mean, it just, if you were not good, they just sucked it up and kept you on board. Now, a long time ago, today they don't act like that anymore, which is a better thing. But we had this guy, John, who was about 62 years old, and oh my God, he's wonderful. He's a great, runs the membership department. We have a dormitory with 120 rooms of single family housing, single individual men housing, and just a great leader of the YMCA, and he's gentle and kind, and my God, when you got dormitories, you got to solve more problems. You're a professional social worker, it's like everything else that would deal with those people who live there. And he's wonderful. And front desk operation. And so when I went there, John is on the staff team that I became a part of. And when I started working, the most senior person right above me had already been there like 10 years, and some have been there like 25, 30 years. So I was a new kid on the block. And I was an intern at the YMCA when I was in college, and I have a degree in social change. And so I did a good job and worked on them, and they wanted to hire me and finally agreed to do all kinds of special things to get me on board because they wanted me to work for the Y. And So after 3 years, this wonderful CEO retired. And he was a beloved, been there 25 years and a long career. And what a joy to work for this individual, just so kind and Christian. And the thing that stands out the most is that I started working in September. About the middle of October, we're getting ready for Advent. And our church does an Advent wreath, and in our home we do an Advent wreath, and I don't know if all faiths do that, but I know Catholics do it a lot. And so, but I don't know squat about a lot of stuff. So I go up to Mr. Murray and I said, hey, could we do an Advent wreath at the front desk at the Y? And he says, what's an Advent wreath? No, I got to tell you, the guy knew what an Advent wreath was. But I told him, well, you get this wreath and you make it and you put 4 candles in it and then there's a different prayer. So the first week you light 1 candle and you say this prayer and you sing a couple of Christmas spiritual songs and that's it. He says, well, yeah, why don't you take care of that? He says, I'll take care of the wreath, you take care of the rest of it. So we're going to do it every Monday. So on Monday, when I come in there, this is an old building built in the early 1900s. We have this humongous lobbies. It's like walking into a big hotel, gorgeous oak wood and stuff. It's a beautiful place. So we've got this huge, it's got a 5-foot radius wreath on top, candles this big around, this high, hanging down from the ceiling. And he's going to take care of the thing, man. He's talked to the maintenance man and said, we're going to make a show out of this thing. So not only do I get ready to go do this, he closes down the whole YMCA. He's dragging men off the racquetball, handball courts. He's pulling the kids out of the gymnasium, the kids out of the pool. If you're in the cafeteria, the whole place shuts down, and there's like 150 people crammed into the lobby for the first time. What in the world is going on? So we do this, little 5 or 10 minute deal. The first song, I'm not a good singer, and I sang the wrong words to the right tune or something like that. So the membership director says, I'll take over the singing, you do the rest of it. But he encouraged me to be a Christian. At the end of 3 months, when everybody got raises at the end of the year, he went to the board and said, I brought more Christianity and emphasis this Y than they had in 10 years. And they gave me a small bonus for having done that. But that always, from that point on, always encouraged me for the next 35 years to do those sorts of things in the YMCA. So this benevolent director retires. It's another national search, and they bring in 3 different people. So we're sitting in a staff meeting, and the new guy comes in interviewing. He sits down with us and says, hey, how's it going? So we said, hey, everything's fine. I don't know what he's looking for. Well, he wants to know strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. He wants to know what's going on, but we don't understand that. We just tell him everything's fine. So, he gets other stuff. He gets the finances and meets with the board and does all the other kind of stuff. So after he comes on board, we find out everything's not so fine in the not finest areas in dormitory because the state of Wisconsin, along with a lot of other states, said that in the 70s, if you were living in the mental hospitals, they had to release you. And they would drug you up and dump you out in society. And guess where half of them ended up? At the YMCA dormitories. And we got people jumping out of windows. It's not a pretty sight. So John is handling all this stuff, but when you got a lot of really mentally ill people, the healthy people don't want to be there either. And all of a sudden the revenues are going down and state funding isn't enough to make up the difference for those people, so we're getting in trouble. So every week, this new CEO is just hammering on this one guy in front of all of us in a staff meeting. And you know what? The whole spirit of our directors just went right down the tubes, and we're disconnected from the new CEO, and he's supposed to be the big guy pulling this stuff together. He'd been a lieutenant commander in the Navy, and his wife had died, and he has a son, so he had to leave his career in the Navy and got a degree, and then he went into Y work, and that's how we ended up at our Y. So as the whole thing is tanking, and one day he walked past me without talking to me, just says, I don't know what the hell is going on around here. And so with courage, I went up to him and said, "It's the way you're treating John in front of all of us." I says, "You're an embarrassment." I said, in the Navy, when I was in the Navy, they said, praise in public, criticize in private. Look at what you're doing. And he said, he had a great many attributes. He says, "Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your feedback." It took 6 months to repair the damage, but it got on board and did that. But the fact of how he disrespected that one individual had a huge impact on the entire organization. He also talks here in the book about respect from a faith point of view. And he talks about the respect of the Lord is the most important relationship we have. Nothing is different than that. The highest level is worship, and the word worship is used more than 150 times in the Bible, but that's the highest form of respect. The dictionary says it's reverent, it's honor, adoring, reverence, or regard. Fear of the Lord is the most supreme respect that there is. And the more we think about the Lord, the quicker and the greater our relationship grows with the Lord. In Isaiah, and there's many scriptures in the Bible that are listed in here. I pulled a couple out. This is the one esteem, he who humbles and contrite in spirit and trembles at my word. In Samuel 2:30, those who honor me, I will honor them. So the Lord himself is the example, the first example to us of how we're to be treated, so we need to do it in that same kind of way back to them. Thank you, and I'm going to now have Gail share her situation with integrity.
Thank you, Kirby. Good morning, brothers and sisters. How are you? Boy, talk about respect. What an honor it's been to work with Kirby and Stieg. I mean, every year I get this great blessing to be with all of you. And we're all called, as we know, to work with Christ and with one another. And when we work in harmony, we achieve far beyond what we can do separately. And we reap a productive harvest. All of the individual talents are efficiently pulled together, right, to reap this harvest that Christ set out for us. And integrity is an essential seed to fostering and reaping long-standing, trusting work relationships. It's defined as the steadfast adherence to moral or ethical code, and it fulfills the human need for authenticity. We can't have integrity without the truth. And the truth is so important to God that the Bible uses it 224 times. Proverbs 11:3 tells us, "The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity." Luke 12:2 further states, "There's nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." Christ, our Savior, is the perfect role model of integrity. He is who he says he is, and he fulfills all of his promises. He is the way, the truth, and the life. When integrity is lacking, however, there's a state of disintegration. People go to pieces, relationships unravel, and the consequences are painful. We have each other's, brothers and sisters. This is why we are here, right? But what happens to people who don't have hope in Christ? What happens to people who don't have CIC? What do we do when these other people can't rise above the situation? Without each other, without Christ, relationships crumble, and without integrity, great pain ensues. But we heard we're not powerless, right? Take heart, for Christ has conquered the world, and we are called to build his temple. God bless.
Now we're going to, is this on? We have a really large group this session, but our intent is to hire all of you. There was a businessmen's conference, and somebody came and gave a presentation in this community, and it talked about this, and 3 companies have contacted us and asked us to prepare a marketing plan for them, for their business, on why this would be good for this business, how you might do it, what the fruit would be. And so we're going to divide you up into groups of 3. Group there, now unwieldy in size, so as best you can sort of get input from people. Someone needs to be a scribe, someone needs to kind of facilitate the group as the kind of this division. But the 3 groups are St. Joe Medical has a called the Urgent Care Center, where you can go there and get emergency services. They have some doctors on board, but it's a faith-based medical center. The next one is a very large accounting firm, the biggest one in your town. It's an accounting firm. And the 3rd group is a manufacturing firm that produces a real worldwidely known widget, and that's their main product. They do that. So one's kind of the real secular, and one's a little bit different kind of an operation. So who wants to be the St. Joe Medical? This, or this? Great, your hand up first. So this is going to be your task. You get the group of people together, sit around, and in about 15, 20 minutes, what time are we supposed to be done? 11:30? Yeah, in about 15, 20 minutes, put together a plan of how you're going to approach the executives who are the decision makers at the medical center, and how you're going to recommend to incorporate this program. Am I being clear with the expectation? Not at all. Okay, I'm with St. Joe Medical Group. I've heard about this thing. I don't want to, I'm understaffed, overlaw. I mean, I can't get it. I need somebody to come in and convince me and a few other people, well, this is a great idea. If you do this, this is how you might do it. This might be the fruit. This is going to be the benefit to your company for doing this. Does that help? And, it's the whole thing is the 12 seeds. Yeah, this is the program you're going to do it. So, trying to get you started so that when you go back home to the place where you work and your family church, I'm going to help you get started with some ideas on how you might begin to think about how to do this in your own environments. You got it? Okay. Thank you. So you can sort of turn around, get together, whatever. And who's going to lead this group over here? You're going to lead? All right. Whatever. What would it take us to incorporate and do something like this? So we don't have to have a perfect plan. You got, 15, 20 minutes to put something together. How about this group come up and just share us some of the insights that you came up with as much as you got done this time? Don't everybody jump up at once.
Okay, so we decided that ultimately we needed to sell this to management, right? Because if management isn't on board, so what we asked to do was take a look at their mission statement and show them how the 12 Seeds program jibes up with their mission statement. And we hope if they've got a well-crafted mission statement that the values will match up. And so because it's an accounting firm, they're likely recruiting a fair number of millennials and millennials are looking for genuine experiences because, right, the frontline workers and all the accounting firms, the people that grind it out all day long, are millennials. And so they're looking for genuine experiences, and this is all about integrity and excellence in the workplace. And so that's our pitch to them. And so we came up with I think about 15 different bullet points, how we thought that this could help the company to improve. But at the end of the day, it was about the deliverables and matching up with their mission statement. So.
Okay. All right, so we had St. Joe's Medical, and luckily enough, this is a faith-based organization. So we need to bring something to the board of directors for this organization. We wanted to review the data they actually had that we're currently working on. Any feedback, any surveys from the current employees to find out what the gaps were. And then we were going to, after prayer from that first meeting, show them the model that we had, which was based off of the 12 seats. And then again, boards like data and metrics. So say this model can then turn your data into this value. Again, reconciles those gaps with the 12 seeds, but then now that comes into a board meeting that trains the employees. So that would be a weekly meeting. Each employee would get, or an employee group would get one topic within the book. They could train on that for a month long, integrate that into their daily work. And again, through those meetings, there would be affirmations, again, prayer, and the employees, again, sharing all of their challenges and their concerns and how they see this. Just because I see it as it may help this employee department work, they can say, I live in this environment. This is how integrity is going to help in my department. And ultimately, over the year long, you now have a year long's worth of training, and it's a happy employee is better patient care. That's what we have.
So we had a manufacturing, I'm hearing myself, we had a manufacturing firm, and I think what we decided is those 12 seeds would help improve the safety within the organization. It would definitely improve quality control. It would also improve communication between the white collar, part of the company and the blue collar part of the company. They'd be able to, through the respect and all of that, they'd be able to begin to understand what's involved on both sides of the corporation. Then one of the suggestions was it would probably help implement a 360 evaluation, and I had to ask what that was, and basically that's, usually it's the bosses who are evaluating their employees. On a 360 evaluation, it's the reverse, where the employees are evaluating the management, and that would end up fostering additional respect within the company as far as a better understanding of what's involved in all aspects of growing the corporation. Let's see, what else? Did I mention damage control? Because a lot of times in manufacturing there's a lot of waste, and or it's it could be an unsafe environment for the blue collar workers. So when you have respect, and you speak your truth, the employees then, the blue collar guys then have the ability to speak of what they're witnessing that could basically eliminate some safety issues or reduce the damage of product. Yeah. Yes, if they had been a little more truthful, they wouldn't have so much financial damage right now, right? Yeah, and also whether they would recognize it or not, it would end up implementing a lot of Christian principles that we have learned to live with integrity. But like we know, most of the corporate world is not based in in a Christian environment. But so we can slide in there quietly and they wouldn't even know it. So we'll tell the truth subversively.
thank you. I hope we had some fun with this, and it gives you a great idea of the 12 Seeds program. Encourage you to get the book, read the whole book. It's an easy read, but when you do that, then seriously think about the venues, your place of work, your homes, other places that you might incorporate this. And I'm sure that if you contacted the 12 Seeds people, they probably have some information of their own of how they might have seen other places implement the program. We didn't go that direction, but anyway, get you started in the right direction. So thanks for your great attention today and how fun we had. Thank you.